Certainly there needs to be incentives to support special economic zones. But there are different kinds of special economic zones that are possible in our country, not just the existing ones, where essentially I think what you got in the existing IDZs was you had concentrated infrastructure, which was often supported by the state, the establishment of a zone, an industrial development zone, and then you get the benefits of duty-free entry of inputs into products that were going to be exported. So it was of attraction to a particular kind of industry, namely industries that were going to be largely export orientated. In terms of funding, we are proposing the establishment of a fund, because at the moment it is one or other of these existing IDZs has some budget problem or something hasn't happened as anticipated, then we have to rush to Treasury and ask for a particular ad hoc designation of funding in an entity where the relationship and the responsibilities of national, provincial, local government to the actual operators is not entirely clear. That's the problem that we've had. So we clarify the governance arrangements, and we have a dedicated fund which we will budget for as and when the Act comes in, which will be available to support special economic zones. We're not scrapping IDZs, let me be clear about that. We're saying that IDZs can continue, but that we can broaden the concept. We're moving to a situation where there'll be an economic rationale for industrial decentralisation. And I think we're looking to support that. So we're not saying we're going to support industrial decentralisation, which doesn't make any sense at all, but that there are a number of projects and proposals and ideas which have been generated, but we have no scheme or method at this point in time to support those. Essentially what has to happen is that some proponent, which can be a provincial government, a municipal government or national government, or a public-private partnership, will come along, develop a proposal, and that proposal will then be entertained, and we will then be able to award a permit for operation. That's essentially what it's about. And we will have to be responsible for ensuring that we obviously don't duplicate, that obviously there is a sustainable economic development case for each.
The Saldanha area, the IDZ, I think is sort of what we're looking at in terms of the new model. Firstly, we're quite far advanced. I'm thinking about June this year. All the feasibility study work will be completed, and the team will submit to the minister an application for IDZ status. But firstly, the first thing we've got is that the three tiers of government are working jointly and collaboratively on we've got the Saldanha Bay municipality, the provincial government and national government are all the players overseeing and managing the feasibility study. But it also gets to the point which the minister mentioned about economic viability. Because we're starting new nodes of industrial development, we must be absolutely sure before we even kick off the process about the long-term viability, because you're looking at an industrialization of 20, 30 years in a particular area. You're putting in big investment in infrastructure. So clearly the long-term economic viability and rationale must be absolutely clear. That's why the pre-feasibility and then the full feasibility study is important. So we're reaching that completion with Saldanha. And also to mention one of the areas they are looking at is the potential for renewable energy manufacturing sector developing in that IDZ. But they're still busy with that. And I think, as I said, we then don't want to sort of speculate too early about where the new SEZs will be. But we are engaging with a number of provinces, Limpopo, Northwest, Free State, who have identified potential ones. But as I said, we will then start this process with them to identify, let's say, the ones with the highest potential, and then conduct that full feasibility study into the long-term economic viability of those areas. But as the minister indicated, they are in agro-processing, they are in light manufacturing, and there are even some in terms of beneficiation, like your platinum beneficiation or science parks around those things. But as I said, we'll be completing that process with the provinces in the next month or so.
Like the Saldanha one, where what we see, I mean, the DG mentioned just one, the potentiality of some green industries, but there's several others that we see. An oil and gas center, the mineral sands project, the aquaculture. All of those are the identification of particular economic activities which could benefit from the designation as a special economic zone, in that case an industrial development zone, which I think we should just make it clear is not dependent on the passage of this bill. We could designate it under the existing legislation.